If you're struggling with Chinese in your memory or haven't gotten started learning Chinese because you're afraid of the memory requirements Chinese places on your brain, this is the first video in a series of mnemonic solutions I've used to rapidly magnetize important and useful Chinese phrases into my memory. No pain, no frustration, no hassle, and a very high rate of recall anyone can achieve if you have the magnetic memory method formula for creating images. And because they're so simple, and if you can imagine yourself having fun with easy images like these, I'd like to welcome you to day one of the Magnetic Memory Method 30-Day Challenge for Chinese Phrases, the Beginner Series. We're going to transform your memory abilities for Chinese fast. Coming right up. So before we get started unpacking what all this means, I want to tell you what my mission is in this playlist of the 30-Day Beginner Chinese Phrase Challenge with the Magnetic Memory Method that I'm treating you to, and I've got several things going on. The first is that I want to share my mnemonics for Chinese phrases with you. You know, there are a lot of books on the matter where people give examples, and quite frankly, they are good to look at, but I don't think anybody's ever shared it quite from the angle that I am going to do, certainly not on video. And I want to share why and how these images work, how they work for me, and how that you can take the principles and make images work for you, because they might not be the images that you're going to see. And I'll be straight up with you from that. I'm not offering a magic bullet here. I'm offering you the knowledge of how to fish so that you can go out and feed yourself for life, rather than just giving some images that I used and sending you off on your way with the hope and the wish and the prayer that they're going to work for you. What I see in my mind may not work for you. And so that's the sadness with all the other books out there that are filled with all kinds of mnemonics that may or may not work for you. I want you to have a surefire method, and that's what this is all about. The other thing is that I want to inspire your imagination and memory, and I want you to overcome any hurdles that you have with learning Chinese, because it's quite frankly simply not that difficult. Now, there are a lot of people out there who are willing to talk about how Chinese is the hardest language in the world until they're blue in the face, and you know what? It's mindset stuff. So really, if you are open-minded and you would like to see a very, very interesting approach for using mnemonics, using memory techniques to help you rapidly transform your memory and learn and remember and recall Chinese phrases very, very quickly, like instantly almost, as long as you're willing to actually start using the language, well then you're going to have the closest thing to real magic that exists. And I have a fourth little thing on my agenda here, which is that I want to win you as a lifelong subscriber to this channel, watching my videos. And if you're interested in Chinese, or you're just interested in language learning and mnemonics, this is going to be a very, very great adventure. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell so you're notified when these videos come out, and be involved, because this is a great way to learn, and I am here 100% to give you all that I can about using your memory at a higher level with Chinese. So let's rock and roll and see what's going on here. Now, this could just be mumbo jumbo, or maybe you already have some ideas of what is what's the puzzle that I've created here to give my mind something to unravel, to unpack. Well, the first principle that you need to understand is that when you're using the magnetic memory method for language learning is that you want to give yourself images that enable you to recall the sound and the meaning in the same swift blow when you are looking at an image. So I don't want to just be able to remember how this sounds. I want to be able to actually remember what it means. So now I'm learning Chinese with you. So my pronunciation is not going to be 100% on all of these things. And I am very much attuned to pronunciation needs and working on it all the time, every day. But there's just something about, I can imagine people saying, but your pronunciation is crap. Well, yes, it is. This is the hardest part, is actually learning pronunciation. And you know how you do it? You just keep speaking. And if you have the guts, get on a YouTube channel and speak, because, you know, you'll get people actually helping you, which I've had on this channel already, and I'm very excited about that. So as I understand this so far, this is jiào, shén, míng. Now, how that this image helps me is very, very simple. The Karate Kid is kneeing Hawk from G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is shouting, ow, right? So there's no one-to-one correspondence, or very rarely are there one-to-one correspondences in your mnemonics when you're using magnetic memory method. You just look for hooks. You look for triggers. You look for things that are just close enough to help you decode the sound and the meaning. So this combination of G.I. Joe, or, well, I mean, it's Hawk, but Hawk is representing G.I. Joe for me, is this Joe and ow sound. So this jiào, ni jiào, and then shén for me, ever since I first learned this word, shén has always been Shania Twain on a horse. Now, can you imagine why? We will see later in this series that this horse is actually the character for question, or the character in Chinese for horse ma is looks very much like a horse. So in future videos, I'm going to show you how to actually use the characters themselves in some of these images. But since the very beginning, that's what I've always had for shén is Shania Twain on a horse, because Shania and shén, like, it's not a one-to-one correspondence, but it's close enough to trigger. And then because the horse character ma is a horse, well, and lo and behold, you go on YouTube and guess what? Bang, there's Shania Twain on a horse. So it's just very, very simple to get an image of that in one's head. Now, for Ming Zi, well, Minnie Mouse is also not a one-to-one correspondence with Ming, but in my mind, I always had Minnie Mouse she's like married, right? So she wears a ring. And that's how, when I first came across the requirement for Ming in Chinese, I just used her because Ming, ring, and so forth. I mean, I assume she's married to Mickey Mouse. I don't know if I ever actually saw them get married, but whatever. I mean, these are the things that go on in the mind of a mnemonist, and they're very powerful. And if you just start thinking this way, then you'll find that you can make little stories like this very, very quickly, and just add a memory palace, and bam, it's just so fast. Now, the baby here is interesting, and I'm relying on some previous knowledge of Chinese. And, if you're watching this video so far, you probably yourself have some previous knowledge of Chinese as well. But so the baby sound is very similar to zi. In this case, we have the fourth tone, but the third tone, zi, is also baby. So I just see her asking the baby its name. And that's where I get the sense of what the meaning of this phrase is. So again, the whole core principle here is that the images you create help you remember the sound and the meaning of the phrase. So what you can do is then, actually look at this and check again in your mind, ni jiào, shén ming si. And so this is my second tone with the Ming is not that great. And it's just practice, and I practice all the time, and April helps make me sure that I'm getting better and better and so forth. But it can be very difficult for people learning Chinese with the tones, and it's just a matter of getting it into, well, first of all, you got to get it into memory, and there's a way to do that, but you also just want to always be practicing, right? And you can also look at characters and so forth, so that can help as well. But the characters is its own little challenge, and there's some stuff going on about that I'm working on, but it's very good to just make sure that you're exposed to them as quickly as possible. And so there's that character that is also in the word for baby, which, if my memory serves, is the third tone, zi. And yeah, so basically, just as a quick review, what I'm seeing here is just something that enables me very, very quickly. I place this in a memory palace, so I have a place to look at it, to review it in my mind, and, go for as many repetitions as it takes so that it is burned into long-term memory, which, when you get familiar with these techniques, can be as little as 5 repetitions or even less. It's just miraculous. But I always go overboard and try to do 5 the first day, 5 the second day, and then at least once a day for the next 5 days. And it's just a matter of asking people what their name is in Chinese, right? It's not rocket science. And if you're learning Chinese, then that's the kind of thing you're going to want to do, and you're going to want to start getting good at it. So I hope that you enjoyed this quick walkthrough for this on our first day, or day 1 of the 30-day Chinese phrase magnetic memory method challenge. And, if you'd like to actually know how that you could say this and hear it from Chinese native speakers, I'd like to just take a minute to share with you an option that you have for that, and that is where I'm getting these phrases from. And it's called the Real Spoken Chinese Vault. And this is something put out by Mandarin HQ. And you can see the first lesson here is, what's your name? And I have been going through this very diligently. And, you also get elementary, you get intermediate, and you can see that I sort of skipped ahead here to intermediate, but you know what? I thought I'm going to go back and I'm just going to go to the beginner and go through it diligently. And that's where it started bubbling in my mind. I can actually make and share with people my images. So that's what this series is about. And I sort of partnered up. Well, I didn't sort of partner up. I literally partnered up with Mandarin HQ, Angel there. We've been corresponding back and forth. And when I first heard about this, we did an interesting promotion. And what we did is I offered people some bonuses if they wanted to use a special link that I gave to join the Mandarin HQ Real Spoken Chinese Vault. And it was so great what happened, because people are really interested in this. Because what you get is not only the ability to hear multiple speakers, not an overwhelming amount, a very small set, but you get to hear multiple speakers speak that question, what's your name, in this case, and then you get to hear multiple speakers answer it. So if you'd like to know the answers and hear this from Chinese speakers, then this is a great opportunity for you, because it's so powerful, and you can just click them again and again and again. They become like little native speaking robots that serve your needs, so that you can hear it as many times as you want. And you get to see it in writing, you get to see it in English as well, and they really break it down very, very simple for you. And there are a lot of phrases that you actually want to ask, like, do you have an English name? It's so great, and I've learned so much going through, and like I said, I'm being very diligent, and I'm sharing with people what I'm doing. And what we've arranged, if you'd like to join, is a special link. So if you go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese, you'll see a page that has this at the top. It'll take you through all the information about this special program, where you can really put Chinese native speakers at your beck and command, and not only hear the questions and the answers in different variations, but you can hear them from different parts of China. Because the reality is, and this is something that Angel has on the page that you'll visit when you go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese. The YT stands for YouTube, by the way, because you're watching this here on YouTube. But she's got a very, very brilliant program here for you, because you'll have many ways to express the same thing. There's just a lot of variety in the vocabulary and grammar, and I've learned so much already, and I get to, just enjoy regionality and variations. And it's not an overwhelming amount, but it's a realistic amount that enables you to do way better than any textbook or any audio program out there. And I can't apologize on the behalf of all those other programs, but they're very corporate. They're very much devoted to making a simple cookie cutter sort of thing, and so they have all these kind of complaints that you would have, like they're unnaturally slow and they're being very distinct. And then you go out in the real world and you're like, holy cow, people are actually speaking kind of fast and they're slurring, and wait a second, they're actually making an R sound, which you'll hear a lot in the Beijing accent, and I only heard, some sort of other corporate-y sounding accent. So what I really love is the emphasis in the Chinese Vault on the real, and it's so good. You get to look real people in the eye and hear their voices at the speed that they will speak, but you can repeat it as many times as you want. And so you get the questions and you get the answers, and you just get a small set of variations. Now, in order to make this even more attractive to people who have an interest in using memory techniques so that they can go through these phrases, either in the beginner level, the elementary level, the intermediate level, or whatever the case may be, in order to really drive this home for people so that they get the full benefit of it, I've created a number of bonuses. And the first is that I made a Facebook group. So that Facebook group has a number of features, one of which is that you can actually search the group. So if you want to find the mnemonic phrase that I've created, then you can actually search it, and it should most times come up. You also can interact with the things that I've posted there, and you can post your own mnemonics if you like, and receive interaction. Now, I've hidden here all the other members for their privacy, but once you're in, then it will not be private. This is a secret group. Only people who are using the Chinese Vault are allowed in there. So that's like a really cool thing. They're serious. They're using the same program as you. It's like a 21st century online school in a way. And it's just totally a bonus for you that you get when you use this special link to check out and join the Chinese Vault. So that's magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese. Now, I also want to train you in using a memory palace. So I've created a bonus video that you will get the password for when you use magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese to get the Chinese Vault, and you'll get instructions where to find this, and you just pop in that password, and away you go. You're able to watch a training that will show you how to use this in combination with a memory palace so that you can blaze through this, have the recall rehearsal that you need in order to get information into your long-term memory so that you are really looking at this once and then in your mind looking at it again and again, better than any spaced repetition software, better than any audio program, better than any book, although you want to also consider using this in combination with those other forms of learning. So again, this becomes more and more magical when you have, well, I'll give you a little tip. One thing that you should consider doing is limiting what you have to one audio program, one video program, and one textbook, and then make sure that you're doing the big five of language learning. And so another bonus that I put together for people is they get the Ultimate Language Learning Secret. You're going to get the second edition of the book and the full video course. So this is quite something, just a bonus that I wanted to put on for people because it's so incredible and it's very, very helpful. It's just insights about, I mean, learning a language is pretty simple. If you have the big five of language learning, I'll tell them to you right now. It's reading, writing, speaking, listening, and using your memory. And that's, not rocket science. The rocket science comes in where you ask, well, how do I get myself to do that every day? And the Ultimate Language Learning Secret is all about that. And it also gives you some more memory insights and training and helps reinforce how the memory techniques work. Also, I decided to share the tone control method that I use with Chinese, the Magnetic Memory Method Chinese Tone Control. And this is really, really simple, but it does require a bit of setup. But if you're willing to do that setup, then you'll be able to look at any of those words and remember what those tones are. And then it's just a matter of reminding yourself to use those tones in your speech. And I'll be straight up with you. It doesn't happen that you're going to remember that all the time because you're remembering all sorts of things and processing all sorts of things. However, if you don't have this, you risk the possibility of never remembering them at all. So this is a really good tool to have to work in and use on top of the images that I've just shown you and shared with you, because when you have a second layer of imagery that helps you with the tones, well, then you have a basis for remembering what those tones are. And, it's just a cool thing to even just know about, because it's just remarkable how easy it is. And it does require a bit of energy. It requires a bit of time. But here's the thing. It winds up giving you time and energy back in return, because you're going to feel so excited when you go, oh, I remember what these tones are supposed to be. And you're going to feel this energy that comes, and you're going to then end up spending less time worrying about the tones. You're going to spend less time trying to remember them. And it's just a really, really powerful tool. It's kind of like a little bit, I'll be straight up with you. You want to save it for after you get some traction with the first layer of mnemonics and placing them in a memory palace. But once you're feeling proficient with that, which will happen really quickly, then you can start with the tone control, and it's great. And then, of course, I want to give you something extra, which is a little training I did on memorizing Chinese poetry. Maybe you've seen some of my other YouTube videos where I'm singing Chinese songs and stuff, and I memorize them real fast. And the way that I did it, well, I go through that in here, and I memorize some poems as well. And April teaches me these classic poems, and we just have a lot of fun. I'm going to do one more thing too for the future, and I am now dreaming up the book version of all this, and it's going to be phenomenal. And people who are in my Facebook group, there's only one way to be in here, and that is to use this link and be part of this whole program, all these bonuses. And what'll happen is when you have all of this, then you're going to be notified, and you're going to get this book when it's done as a PDF. And I'll probably do something outrageous, which is also give you the audiobook version, and that'll just be my special gift for you, because you have taken a step forward and joined me on this amazing adventure and gotten the Chinese Vault, because this is such an incredible program, and I'm doing this because I really, really think this is the most incredible product out there. And, it's just a great way to essentially have Chinese native speakers at your beck and call as much as you want. And I've always been looking for something like this, always been wishing somebody would do something like this in all the languages, because it is a mnemonist's dream come true, because you want to be able to, and I do this as much as I can, like when I was learning Polish and I was in Gran Canaria shooting a video, and Spanish as well, but you're talking to people and you just want them to not so much slow down, but say it again so you can make the images in your mind. Well, in real speech, you can do it half of the time, and you can get pretty good at it in real time. But this solves for the mnemonist the problem of, you don't have to say to people, do it again, say it again, and then have them wait while you're making these images in your mind and so forth. Maybe if you were at one of the polyglot gatherings with me, you saw me showing a funny video with Benson and I, and he was like teaching me Chinese, and he's like, okay, so what's your image going to be for that? Well, you're on the spot, and you can do it, and I can do it, and I've gone to competition and memorized things in real time, and it's possible. But it's so much cooler if in every day you have your own little quiet space, and you just have these Chinese speakers repeating what it is that you want to learn as many times as it takes, and then you have this relaxation, and you can remember what it is, because you can, in the peace and comfort of your own home, remember the tones, make the associations, and you have all the mnemonic tools that you want when you use this link. And I highly encourage you read the entirety of this page when you go to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese. It's a very thrilling and interesting read, and you get more of the breakdown of what's going on in the program. And then, of course, when you use this link, you will be notified of how to be added to this group, because only people who have this are entered into there, and you'll get the password for this, and you will get Chinese tone control, and you'll get the ultimate language learning secret, how to memorize Chinese poetry, and when this book is done, you'll get the PDF and quite likely the audio program. Now, what does this all amount to? Well, having access to native speakers in this way with 3 tiers, 3 levels, right? Beginner and intermediate, and it's just amazing that you have all of this ability to just put them on autopilot, right? That's just absolutely priceless. Because if you were to have Chinese teachers and you wanted to, say, and you have to all the time say, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? It's just annoying, right? Because you end up sucking up so much time that you're paying for. Here, you just grab this once, and you have the most important phrases that you'd ever want to speak or need to speak, and you can just have them repeat it as often as you need, and have them do it in multiple levels, because you get to see it first without the characters or English on the screen, then you add with the pinyin, and then you add with the pinyin and characters and the English, and you're able to see all of this, and it's just so beautiful, because you get a little bit of built-in repetition exposure. Oh, and she's got quizzes there for you as well. I don't always take the quizzes myself, but it's amazing. And as you can see, I've actually, gone through all the quizzes, and that's when you get the green mark and you see your progress bar. My progress bar would actually be even farther if I did complete all the quizzes, and I do intend to go back through all of it and do all those quizzes, because that's another level of exposure, and it's just amazing. But right now I'm so excited for my challenge and just going through it to remember all the words, and you'll be excited too. So exposure to all the native speakers is just absolutely priceless. Then you have the community that I'm offering you, which would normally be $47 a month, and you're going to get that totally free for life. That's lifetime. So that's just super priceless as well. Then my Memory Palace training, $97 to go through that. It's a 22-minute video that shows you how to take the information from the Chinese Vault, put it in a location-based memory strategy, and that's the price of that. And then tone control, $47. Then the ultimate language learning secret, $97. And the memorized Chinese poetry, another $97 for that. And when you total it all up, you're looking at $902 just for the bonuses, right? But if you're willing to make a deal, then you can get all those extra bonuses just by going to magneticmemorymethod.com /YT Chinese. That's magneticmemorymethod.com /YT Chinese. And the link to that will be down in the description below. And I really hope that you will take a serious look at this offer and consider it. And either way, In the next video, I'll be sharing my mnemonics with you for day 2 of this challenge. And, well, here's a little preview for you. Whoa, doesn't that look interesting? So make sure you're subscribed to this channel if you aren't already. And if you are serious about getting exposure to your unlimited Chinese native speakers who are just dying to look you in the eye and have you go through the phrases that you're actually going to use, and you hear their answers in different dialects that you're going to encounter in real life, because there are no textbooks when you go to China like I did, I can tell you. And I've been there twice, and I've never heard anybody talking like a textbook, and not even with my wife's family. If you want that exposure that has never been found in any audio program before that I've ever encountered, well, then you can get that and all these bonuses just by checking out the offer at magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese. And the last thing I'll say is that there's something in Beijing called the Forbidden City, and it's a great metaphor for how we are all locked out, or better said, locked in to the prison of our mother tongue if we are not doing something to learn a language. So this is really for you if you have been ever frustrated or afraid of Chinese, or you're currently struggling with the memory aspect. This is a solution. It's a very fun solution. It's a very fast solution. All you got to do is learn and apply the techniques and put a little consistency into it. It's so super easy. And then you want access to how Chinese is actually spoken. And you want access to people who will repeat it for you gladly for as long as it takes for you to create the mnemonic images. And you'll get very good at this very, very quickly if you'll just sit down and apply. And like I said, yeah, there's a little bit of investment in time and energy, but you get it all back because you're going to be so amazed with yourself, so proud and confident because of what you've accomplished and achieved by doing this. And you're going to end up getting all the time that you spend back in droves because you'll get faster and faster, and you'll just be so happy and pleased with what you did. So that's magneticmemorymethod.com/YT Chinese. Thanks for watching this video, and until we speak again, keep yourself magnetic.